We really need to talk about the current state of Starfield, and honestly this isn't a video that I want to make, but it is a video that I feel like I need to make. Obviously there's no denying that Starfield has had a huge success. The reviews have been great besides the many review bombers. It sold over 10 million copies, which is just insane, and it is Bethesda's biggest launch in the history of the company. It's holding roughly a 50k player count on Steam alone every single week, but something's going on and it's really not good. It feels like near enough almost everybody has stopped making content on Starfield, and even the ones who are making content on it, the views are plummeting. Even if you look on my own channel, my recent videos on Starfield have not been doing well, like at all. I used to get around 10k views per Starfield video, give or take, and now I'm lucky if a video gets 100 views an hour. And like I said, it's not just me. I've spoken to a lot of my content creator friends from YouTube, many of who I'm sure 99% of you subscribe to. They're all much bigger channels than I am for the most part, and they've all agreed and said that they sadly feel the exact same way. It's strange, but that's not the main thing here. It kind of just feels like people are losing interest in Starfield quicker than the average Bethesda game. People keep posting online, especially on Reddit, about how they're just kind of getting a bit bored with Starfield now. And granted, these people have put in hundreds and hundreds of hours, but usually you can play a Bethesda game for at least 1,000 hours without getting bored. I played my first Fallout 4 playthrough all the way from launch to Nuka World, and actually I still have that character saved on my old PS4. I'm at level 900 and something. It's ridiculous, but yes, even I haven't played Starfield in a number of days now. And it's not that I'm actually bored with Starfield, not at all. I just feel like I kind of need a little bit of a break from it, I guess. I haven't played it in a couple of days, and usually with a Bethesda Game Studios game especially, I'd be rocking that shit for like a month straight, at least. And clearly it seems a lot of people are feeling this way, but again, don't get me wrong, Starfield is my current game of the year. I absolutely love it. But what's the problem? One of the big issues that I think Starfield is currently suffering from is just the amount of loading screens and time spent in the menu. A lot of the time, all you're doing is going into your menu, clicking on a system, then clicking on a planet, then fast travelling to said planet, then landing on said planet, then exiting your ship, and all of that is done through loading screens and menus, and honestly it gets really boring and irritating after a while. Especially when there's nothing on the planet that you've just gone to. See, in other BGS games, you would just open the map, click fast travel, and then you would be there after a loading screen. It wasn't as long, and you didn't have to navigate all that much through a annoying menu. But I think the number one issue is how Bethesda handled the actual content in this game. Bethesda have said and confirmed time and time again that Starfield apparently has more handcrafted content than any of their previous games. It was a big selling point when they were promoting Starfield. But it really doesn't feel like that, because everything is spread out through 1,000 different planets and moons, most of which are empty. The game doesn't have that nice usual BGS flow of just walking from location to location and discovering cool and unique stuff on your way to your current quest. You would have to land on nearly every single planet to try and find things that aren't randomly generated, and that sucks compared to, say, playing Fallout 4 or Skyrim. And just wandering around the map and almost instantly seeing something that you haven't seen before when you first play the game. Now this might be a bit of a hot take, but I definitely think the way that Bethesda handled planets in Starfield wasn't great, to say the least. And I want to emphasise, I was on board for the whole 1,000 planets and moons thing, but after 300 plus hours in, I honestly just wish that they made like 1 or 2 systems with 10 planets and moons, each filled with content like their usual games. So much so that I'm practically on my knees begging that the Elder Scrolls 6 goes back to the normal 1 or maybe 2 map system, instead of, say, setting the game in like 6 different regions in Tamriel and having most of the land be empty. And I get it, Starfield is a realistic space game. Trust me, I used that argument a lot in the past. So it's obviously going to have empty planets and maps, I agree with that. And like I said, I was massively on board with this. I defended this decision for like a year and a half on YouTube nearly every single day to people in the comments, but the point is it really just ended up not working for me and apparently a lot of other people. What I'm trying to say is that in Starfield you can be doing a quest and you'll have to go to another location, so you just fast travel to your ship and then fast travel to the point of interest, and obviously you discover nothing in between. Whereas in, again, let's use Skyrim and Fallout 4 as an example, When you're going from one place to your next quest marker, if it's the first time you're playing the game, you probably haven't discovered that location yet. So you would have to fast travel near the undiscovered location and then walk towards it, and during your walk you could find tons of enemies, loot, points of interest, and even new quests that might distract you for at least a couple hours, and you'll completely forget what you was doing, and it felt genuine and it flowed very nicely together. But none of that exists in Starfield, and I think that's why people are seemingly losing interest so fast compared to other BGS games. There's just not that amazing sense of exploration here, and it should have been Bethesda's best exploration game yet because it's a space game. Why do we even go to space in the first place? To explore. I don't want anybody to take this video the wrong way. I absolutely love Starfield. It's one of my favourite franchises now. I've been having a ton of fun playing the actual content in the game, but it's all of this stuff like the loading screens and the constantly having to navigate through your menu to find shit, and not being able to just walk around and explore because all you're going to find is the same not so abandoned research tower with the exact same loot inside of it for the 60th time that play session. It just gets really old and annoying very quickly. I enjoy the actual content, like the shipbuilding is great, the quests especially, the factions especially, but it's the smaller stuff on the side that usually makes Bethesda games so great that's just really not there for Starfield. My biggest number one complaint right now is that the exploration is just bad. I actually said in my review that I hated the exploration in Starfield, and then for some reason when I did my final verdict video I changed my mind for a couple days and I really enjoyed the exploration. I honestly don't know why, because now I'm of the opinion that it's terrible again. I'll straight up say exploration in Starfield sucks. It's probably the biggest disappointment of the game, of the very few disappointments I have. I completely understand where Bethesda wanted to go with the random encounter buildings, but the issue for me is that there's 5 of them. I'm at the point in Starfield where I can literally run through the biggest of these buildings in 2 minutes flat at most, kill absolutely everyone and get all of the loot that I already know is there because the loot doesn't even change for some dumb reason. And yeah, all of that in 2 minutes. 2 minutes is insane. In Skyrim and Fallout 4, I feel like I'm in their dungeons forever and I can't wait to get out of them. But Starfield suffers from having all of these buildings be the exact same layout, with even, again, the exact same loot. No cave in Skyrim or building in Fallout 4 is exactly the same. So it just feels repetitive. In Starfield, I don't want to explore because I know all I'm going to likely find is a building that I've already seen 1,000 different times in the last few days of playing alone. How can Bethesda actually fix this issue? Honestly, my only idea is to Minecraft it. Minecraft constantly gets free updates that change and add a lot to the game. They add in brand new biomes, items, enemies, things to explore, collect and find. For example, Minecraft once had an ocean update that added a ton of new stuff like underwater structures and underwater enemies, so what if Starfield got an ocean update? Because I think we can all agree that the water side of Starfield is laughable, so imagine a huge free ocean update for Starfield that adds in sort of scuba diving and actual water exploration and underwater caves and stuff like that. Or an extreme update that adds in lava planets, actual dungeons, and dangerous weather for some planets like raining diamonds and stuff like that. This could also come with a survival mode that we keep talking about. Another update could focus in adding 100 of these randomly generated buildings instead of the same 4 or 5, and that could flesh it out more. You get the point. I definitely think that these updates should be free as well if Bethesda ever does do something like this, while they can of course charge money for actual DLC with questlines and characters and such, but honestly that's the only way that I can see Bethesda quote unquote fixing Starfield. It doesn't need actually fixing, but this stuff would massively improve it, if you get my point. Like I said, I do love Starfield, but all of this stuff is honestly making me not want to play it as much as I would usually want to play a Bethesda game. I still remember the night that I got Skyrim. I was 12 years old, nearly 13, and I stayed up super late playing it. The only reason I turned it off was because my mum came into my room and practically forced me to turn off my Xbox. When Fallout 4 released, I played it for about 50 hours straight on my PS4. No, seriously, 50 straight hours. I have a dent in my thumb from how much I was pushing my PS4 joystick that night. It's still there, it's a permanent dent. If you're on the Discord, you would have seen the picture of it by now. But when I first played Starfield, I of course was lucky enough to get it early, but I turned it off after about 16 hours, which, yeah, is still a lot of time, but nowhere near as much as other BGS games, or, I don't know, maybe I'm just getting old and I couldn't stand staying up all night again. But anyway, look, that's all I have to say today, so please do leave your thoughts and share your opinions in the comments below. I'd love to see what you all think about this current situation, and of course if you want to stay up to date on Starfield and other Bethesda games, consider subscribing. This is absolutely the place for it. Lastly, as per usual, a big huge shout out to our channel members for supporting me month after month. Thank you so much guys, it really does mean the world. But with that all said and done, we are going to wrap up, so thank you all so much for watching, and I really hope to see you in the next one. Peace.